Welcome back to Half the Battle. I'm your host, as always, Daniel Levy, and joining me now is the number 5 welterweight on planet Earth. I'm talking about Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. Belal, welcome back to Half the Battle.
What's up, my brother? It's been a minute.
It has been a minute, man. I mean, listen, I got to start off with the obvious. Look, we're going to talk about the main event rematch with Luque, but I mean, look, no one's beaten you since you fought in Atlanta the same night Izzy beat Kelvin, the same night Dustin beat Max. You're a perfect 7-0 since fighting in the ATL. Braves happen to win the World Series. I mean, is this a coincidence, man? Did that ATL rub off on you a little bit?
Honestly, I want to go back to that. That was hot. The food was good. It was just an all-around good time over there.
So listen, man, this time last year, you were coming off a win over Lyman Good. You were unranked. And fast forward a full year, you're the number 5 welterweight on planet Earth. What have the last 365 days been like for you?
Man, honestly, it's just been a hard grind. I knew you said goals at the beginning of the year. My goal last year was to be ranked, and to get to fight these top guys. No ranked guy wanted to fight me. It was annoying. It was, you would always ask me who you got, and like we always talk about stuff. You always message me game plans and things like that. Anytime I get an opponent, uh, but like we honestly kind of been through this together. We're like, all right, well, we got this guy, this guy, this guy, and we understood it's gonna be a process. And for me, like the 76ers always say, trust the process, and I knew that just keep my head down, keep winning these fights, and eventually it'll happen. And I know that I was good enough to fight these ranked guys, and then I finally get a ranked guy in Maya, beat him. Finally get a ranked guy in Wonderboy, beat him. Now we're number 5 in the world. So now it's just keep proving these doubters wrong that think that I can't compete with these guys. I go out there, I beat Vicente next, and I think it's a title shot.
So this time last year, you were unranked. Now you're number 5. Where do you see yourself a year from today?
I see myself with the gold around my shoulder right now. I set goals for myself, and to me that goal is achievable. And I always tweet out, "Gold is the goal." Like I'm not in this sport just to be in this sport. I'm in this sport to be the champion. And stylistically, physically, mentally, I feel like I could be the real champion.
So it just got announced, man. You're rematching Vicente Luque on April 16th. And listen, since the last time you guys fought, you've both had 12 fights, all right? You've gone 10-1-1, 10 wins, 1 loss, and 1 no contest. He's gone 10-2. You're ranked number 5. He's ranked number 4, respectively. Like, is there pride on the line here because of what happened the first time, or do you view this as a fresh matchup?
Honestly, I'm a whole different fighter. So it's obviously there's a pride thing. Obviously, anytime I lose to anybody, I want to get that one back. I always wanted this one back. But it's not a personal thing. It's not like I don't hate for this guy. Like when I got the Wonderboy fight, I was in Vegas and I happened to train with him. Me and him trained together, and he was showing me stuff that he saw in the Wonderboy fight. So like he's a good, respectable guy, but he's a killer in the cage. And for me, I'm not gonna sit there and pick and choose my fights. I want to fight these top guys. I want to fight these guys that nobody thinks I could beat. Everybody thought I was gonna go out there and get killed by Wonderboy. And I had to prove those doubters wrong. And I'm gonna do it again by fighting this guy. Everybody's gonna sit there post the same thing over and over again. Oh, this guy, you got knocked out. The trolls are probably already tweeting it out. But we'll see what happens on April 16th.
I mean, just to put it in perspective, Conor McGregor was a champion more recently than the last time you and Vicente fought. So, I mean, it's really been a long ass time, man. But I mean, look, we know exactly what he brings to the table. He's the most dangerous guy in the welterweight division. Nasty left hook. He's got the big calf kicks, and people start to shoot sloppy takedowns on him. You already know about that Darson Anaconda series he's got. So, I mean, is there really one big thing to look out for here, or is it just this is the most dangerous guy and we got to take it second by second this fight?
Yeah, I mean, once you get to the top 5, your next fight was going to be a big fight. You know it was going to be a tough fight. So it was like I figured it would either be him, Gilbert, or Kamzat, and all those guys bringing something different. But what he brings that those other guys don't bring, he brings that one punch knockout power into the later rounds. Obviously, Gilbert Burns has power, but it's in the earlier rounds. But like Luque, we've seen him knock out guys in the 3rd round, rock people got late in the 3rd round. So his power carries on. So for me, it's just being smarter, showing him that I'm a whole different fighter. I think he's a different fighter too. He always brings up this when he wants to fight Kamaru, and everybody always thinks, oh, this guy, his weakness is wrestling, his weakness is this. And you saw his last fight when he fought against a guy against Chiesa. Chiesa took him down, had his back, and Chiesa usually finishes guys there. So he showed that he got a good ground game. He obviously got a good stand up game. So he's an all around tough fight for anybody in the division. So it's gonna be a a good puzzle to solve. But with me, like fighting Maya, who's a crazy hard puzzle, then fighting Wonder Boy, who's even a harder puzzle. I think that those two prepared me for this one fight right here.
And in this fight, listen, you got an extra 2 rounds to work with. And I've always said that, a guy like you, even a guy like Chito Vera, you are going to really benefit from 5-round fights because that's where, you're the kind of guy, you take someone to deep waters, you want to see if they're still willing to swim. Well, now you got those 2 extra rounds. Does that like make you very excited? Does that make your eyes light up a little bit that you got 2 extra rounds to work?
Honestly, yeah, it was literally I didn't get the fight until right when I was about to walk into practice. Right now, I was like training at night, 6 o'clock, and then Ali called me, said, "Hey, you want the fight?" And I was like, 5 round, let's go, book it. And then I was like, you didn't get a contract or anything yet, so I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna tweet out main event Muhammad. Oh yeah, that's fine, that's fine. And all of a sudden I look, and then the whole fight got announced, and I was like, what the heck? I was like, I would announce it myself, but yeah, just being a main event. Now it's time to prove myself that I belong in there with these top guys. It's always that upper echelon, these guys that go to the next level, these guys that are at the top of the division. You see who's really a champion in those fourth and fifth rounds. That's why we call them championship rounds. So you see who really belongs, who doesn't really belong. Uh, who's that guy that's going to prove themselves? That's where heart kicks in. That's where cardio kicks in. That's where willpower kicks in. And I have all that.
Now, this fight is taking place in Vegas.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay, so look, man, these last few fights have been kind of career changing for you. I mean, like you set your personal best for significant strikes against Lima with 129. You set your personal best for takedowns defended against Maya. You stuffed 20 out of 21. And you set your personal best for takedowns landed against Wonder Boy. And prior to that, you landed 7 in that fight. Prior to that, the most you ever landed in a fight was 4 against Jordan Meehan. So, I mean, listen, you've always been an intense guy, but is this version of Belal Muhammad, like, are you consciously trying to break records and put up numbers?
I just want to be that guy that shows everybody that can do everything. That I can fight anybody anyway. I could adapt to any type of fighter. Lima, I had to be pressure forward. Against Lyman Good, I had to be backwards, moving side to side. Against Damian Maya, I had to keep it on the feet the whole time. Against Wonder Boy, I took him down the whole time. So like, I just want to show that I'm an all around fighter, and I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, he has that Francis Ngannou power. He was born naturally with this one punch power. No, he has that long reach like a John Jones. No, I just had that hard work, that willpower, that work ethic that beats all these guys in that spot. There ain't no guy out here that's gonna work harder than me. And I feel like mentally and just my mind frame and fight IQ, I'm up there with the best of them. There's not a lot of guys that are smarter than me when it comes to game planning and figuring out how to beat somebody, adjusting in the middle of a fight, figuring out that this is gonna work in the middle of a fight. And I think that I do that better than anybody.
When you see guys like Max Holloway put up the strike numbers he did against Calvin Kattar, or even a guy like Merab Dvalishvili scoring 12 takedowns in a fight, does that kind of stuff inspire you at all?
Honestly, literally, like that Max Holloway fight. After that fight, that's one of those fights that hypes you up. I'll watch that fight just to get motivation from it, just to see what he does, see how he pushes that output out there, see how he's in the fifth round. Just to get it. It's that mama mentality. You're watching Kobe Bryant shoot, go hard, and you want to be like these guys. And I may be older than these guys, but they're the champions. These guys, Max Holloway's the best of the best. And honestly, seeing how Calvin Kattar came back from that fight, uh, it motivates you too, because you see a guy like that where everybody brushed him off. Everybody said that, oh man, there's no way he's gonna come back from that beatdown and blah blah blah. And he comes back a whole new fighter, a brand new fighter. Nobody was even thinking about him to be the champion. They're all talking about, oh, give Giga the next title fight. But that's the type of guy I am, where they're not talking about it. But then you go out there, put a performance like that. Now people are remembering, oh, this guy can be a champion. This guy just beat the guy that everybody said, oh, Giga should get the next title shot. Now why aren't you bringing it up about Calvin Kattar, who just put him to work on him? So it's like those type of guys motivate me more than any of these other guys, because you expect that from Max Holloway, but nobody expected that from Calvin Kattar.
Yeah, I sure as hell didn't. And man, that was a beautiful performance on his part. Not just to win, but to do it standing, man. I mean, I know the first round he took him down, but the next 4, I mean, he beat the dude at his own game. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, when you see a guy like that he just literally kind of did the same thing where Max Holloway did to him. He didn't sit there and throw power into every shot. He was doing that same thing, touch boxing, then those nasty elbows, and then just feigning the takedown. He rarely ever feinted takedowns beforehand or gave you the threat of a takedown before that fight. But now he's showing that he's adding tools to his game. Francis Ngannou, like, all right, I didn't get that one punch knockout power against Gane in the first round, that's everybody only expected me to knock him out. So I couldn't knock him out, but I had to adjust and take him down. Those are the guys that are like, all right, these guys are real martial artists. They're not just that he got that Deontay Wilder power where
Right.
if he doesn't land it, it's over for him. Now he shows that I had this in the toolbox. I have this in the toolbox, and I'm a guy that has plan A, B, and C and D. I can do it all, and I'm one of those guys that's going to show it.
So right now, I mean, would you say it's kind of like a welterweight tournament going on? Because allegedly, Kamaru is fighting Leon. You got Colby fighting George. I believe they're going to announce Chimaev and Burns. And then obviously you and Luque. I mean, dude, it seems to me like it's a welterweight tournament, and whoever has the most impressive performance is getting that next shot. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, if you're really thinking about it, this fight I feel like is the number one contender fight. I mean, if Gilbert goes out there and he beats Kamza, I don't really want to see I don't think he should get the rematch. Obviously, he took a tough fight right after the Kamaru fight. Like nobody wants to take a Wonderboy fight, and he showed that he's the guy that still wants to get that title shot right back. And he even hurt Kamaru in the first round. But it's like, how many rematches are you going to give Kamaru? He already fought Kobe twice. He fought Masvidal twice. And you guys are talking about him being the GOAT. But it's like, yo, you just had 2 rematches. Get some new blood. Me and Luque, 2 new bloods in the division. He's going to have to fight Leon, who are already beat. Like, he hasn't fought me or Luque, and we're both, like you said, 10 wins out of our last 11 fights, 12 fights. So, like, it's not like we're sitting there getting lucky and, man, we're on a 2-fight winning streak. Let us get the title shot. No, we put in the work, and we're going through tough guys. It's not like we're just getting hand-picked anybody. Like, we're fighting the toughest guys in the division. Now we're fighting each other.
So obviously the fans love to speak, and all the fans got different criticisms about different fighters. I mean, with some people, it's about their cardio. Other people, it's about their chin. No one criticizes Belal Muhammad for losing fights. No one criticizes you for having shitty wrestling or shitty cardio. The only thing people ever criticize you for or give you heat for is winning fights by decision. And you're actually ranked 4th all time with the most unanimous decision wins in UFC history, which is actually badass. You're up there with like GSP. And you get criticized for going to decision a lot. Now, I remember when Kamaru Usman was on his come up, everybody criticized him for going to decision. I remember when GSP was the champ, everybody criticized him for going to decision. But at the end of the day, winning is all that matters. So does it get to you at all that you have to hear, oh, Belal doesn't have power, this and that? Or to you is like, just let me win and the rest will take care of itself?
Yeah, obviously it's one of those things where people are going to hate on you no matter what. But if you really think about it, I've been close to a lot of these finishes in these fights, and I think that this 4th and 5th round are going to be big, pay dividends for me. Against Wonderboy, I had him in like 3 or 4 finishing spots. Against Lyman Good, I had his back. Against Randy Brown, I had his back. There's a lot of fights where I had these guys back in the 3rd round, and I almost had him on a lot of these guys to the breaking point in the 3rd round. So it's like, for me, I don't want to sit there and go out there and force it and be stressed out and try to go for the knockout in the 1st round. I'm one of those guys that, like you said, I get stronger as the rounds get longer. So in the 4th and 5th round, I feel like that's where you're going to see these finishes. I only been in 5-round fights. The Leon's won, and then my title fight for Titan FC is won, and I got to finish in the 4th round. So I think getting these main events, getting these 5-rounders, that's where you're going to see big differences. And then now fans are going to be like, oh, okay, this guy is a finisher. It's like, nobody's ever going to be happy. They're always going to make fun of you. Francis Ngannou had 10 first-round knockouts. He gets this one decision, and everybody's calling him boring and a loser now that he had to go to wrestling. But it's like, all they're going to do is remember your last fight. And my last fight, I dominated a guy in Wonderboy who fought for the title twice. I mounted him, took his back in the 1st round. There's probably like 5 or 6 rests that probably would have stopped it in the 1st round. But, you just take it how it is. So I'm glad that they didn't stop it in the 1st round because, you would have had that, oh, you got lucky, you took him down, and you just landed in the right spot. So the fact that I dominated him for 3 rounds, that's tougher than just getting one punch or getting one submission in the 1st round, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you bring up, people are calling Francis a boring fighter now. He's like the most devastating knockout artist in the history of the sport, shows off new facets to his game. Before the fight, everyone's like 1st round KO or bust. He goes out there, wins the championship rounds, shows off a new element to his game, and people are criticizing him. So it just shows me that no matter what you do, you can't win with everybody. But listen, like you said, the Wonderboy fight should have been stopped in the 1st round. Had it been a different ref, it would have been stopped. How do you manage your emotions in fights? Because, I mean, it must have been disappointing when you're on top of the guy pounding on him and you're thinking to yourself like, this guy's done. Like, why do I have to beat him up more?
Yeah, like you always see that in a fight where when they're pounding somebody and then they look at the ref, they're waiting for the ref. I get annoyed by those guys, and I didn't do that. I was sitting there like, I'm just gonna keep going because he's literally not doing anything. He's not moving. He's just covering his ears. And I'm sitting there thinking in my head like, bro, what else do you want to see? It's been like 50 unanswered shots, and I'm like, you're taking this away from me right now, Herdean. I need this finish, and you don't want to give it to me for some reason. But you get stressed out, and then you go to the corner, you readjust because you don't want to get there and get stressed out and argue with the ref in the middle of the round. So it's like you're thinking about it mentally, but you're like, all right, I still got 2 more rounds. Then you're still going against a dangerous guy in Wonder Boy who can land one punch or one kick and drop you within seconds. So it's like I had to mentally get straight, get my coaches to get me back in my head, get me back in the zone, and it's like, all right, we'll just have to keep doing it again.
I mean, at the time when you fought him, for the most part, beating Wonder Boy by decision is usually not on the table. I mean, usually he's the guy that goes out there and outpoints people. And a lot of people kind of wrote off his fight against Burns because, Burns is very well respected. They're like, oh, it's just a bad stylistic matchup, but there's no way Belal can beat him. But if you actually look at the numbers, every single time that Wonder Boy's been taken down one time or more, he hasn't won. So you came out there with the right game plan. Now, is it satisfying to not just beat a guy like that, but to get scorecards that read 30-25 when you beat him?
Yeah, it's funny, man. Even with Wonder Boy too, like when I'm looking at it, you watch guys like him, and especially being an analyst now, I'm watching guys, and I'm watching like guys like him, and I'm watching guys like Darren Till, and I'm like, man, these guys are known as knockout artists, but literally they have so many decisions, and I'm sitting there like, why am I considered the decision guy, but these guys are considered such dominant strikers and this and this, and I'm like, they go to decision just as much as me. But when you're fighting a guy like him and you get a 30-25, nobody's ever done that to him. I thought that would put me over the top where it would like, who did Leon beat last? Leon beat Nate Diaz last. I felt like that put me ahead of him. Like when you're fighting a guy like Maya and him back to back, when Tyron Woodley fought them back to back for the title, Woodley said those were the toughest puzzles that he had to solve when he's a champion. And I sat there and I fought these guys right back to back. So these are the 2 toughest tests. And nobody counted me to win these fights. And I went out there and I dominated a guy like Wonder Boy 30-25, where you rarely see that. You see that with Sugar Sean O'Malley beating a guy that just came in on 1 day notice. But we sat there and had a 8-week camp, and I sat there and I still dominated you in the way when, you're wondering what you already know what somebody's going to have to do to you to beat you. You know that somebody's going to go in there and try to take you down. So you're already planning for that. So the fact that I went out there, I'm not a Division I wrestler. I'm not a jiu-jitsu black belt. And I went out there and I did that to him. It's through hard work and, perseverance and just showing these guys that I can be a black belt in martial arts. Like I don't have to be born into it. My father doesn't have to be a karate star. My brother doesn't have to be a jiu-jitsu guy. I don't have to be born like that. I didn't start MMA until I was 23 years old, but I grinded my way, and now I'm number 5 in the world.
You beat Wonder Boy so dominantly that now people are saying he's old, he's washed up, and basically irrelevant. And it's funny because going into that fight, he was not just a favorite, he was a big favorite. And it goes to show kind of the point we were talking about earlier that you can never truly win with people. But does it bother you at all that people discredit your wins like that? Because going in, you're a plus 200 dog. Coming out, oh, Wonder Boy's old and washed up.
That's how it always is, man. Even when I fought Maya, I sat there and I beat Maya, defended 23 takedowns. But it's all Maya's old. But just the fight before that, he took Gilbert Burns down. He mounted Gilbert Burns, and he took Gilbert Burns back. But people are forgetting, Gilbert Burns knocked him out. But still, any other fighter, if he's not a black belt in jiu-jitsu like Gilbert Burns, they would have got finished in the first round. That's what Damian Maia does. Once he takes you down, it's over. So me defending all those takedowns, me doing that with him, I didn't get credit for that. But all right, whatever. So they call me with Wonder Boy. You're like, okay, a motivated Wonder Boy who just thought he was. I thought if he beat Gilbert Burns, he would have got the title shot. And he's still right there because Kamaru hasn't fought him, so he's still talking about fighting for the title. He's still talking about, I go out there, I knock out Belal, I deserve the title fight because Kamaru hasn't fought anybody like me, and everybody thinks that I'm the hardest puzzle for him. So I go out there and I dominate a guy like that who still thinks that it's not like he's sitting there talking about retirement. He was talking about fighting for the title, so he's obviously motivated. He's obviously hungry, still thinking about title shots. So I go out there and dominate him. Now it's still like, oh well, he's 38 years old. He's old, but he just dominated Luque and freaking Jeff Neal just a couple years ago, and he beat them pretty badly. So like the only person that beat him was Gilbert Burns. So I'm sitting there like, you still don't get no credit. That's why I was calling out Khamzat so much, because he's that new hype guy, the guy that everybody wants to see him fight for the title. Everybody thinks that he's gonna be the next champ. So I'm like, all right, if I beat him, there's no excuses. If I beat a guy like that, he's young, he's undefeated, he's this, and this. There's no excuses. Even though if I would have beat him, there probably would have been, well, he was never tested. Now we know that it was all fake hype. There's always going to be those excuses. But now it's like, all right, well, now I'm fighting a guy that knocked me out. There's not going to be no excuses after this one.
So you're a minus 200 favorite against Maya and a plus 200 dog versus Wonderboy. And the reason I bring that up is like, I know you're a focused guy. I know the outside stuff is just noise, but I mean, I know you also have a lot of people that are letting you know about these odds, your friends, this and that. Is it at all like, dude, I'm fucking minus 200 versus a legend like Maya that I grew up watching? And then on the flip side, is it like, dude, I'm a plus 200 dog versus Wonderboy? I'm being counted out to this point. Like, do the odds impact you at all?
I actually get more motivated when I'm the underdog. I'd rather be the underdog because I like to be counted out, and then I go out there and you do that. But it's like when you're a favorite against a guy like Maya, you're like, oh man, why are they thinking I'm a favorite for? He could take me down, he could tap me out so quick. Like because you're thinking about when you're fighting a guy like these two who like are so good in one specific spot. You're like, man, if Maya takes me down, all he needs to do is take my back and it's over. So like, do these people not see that? What's wrong with these people? Uh, but with the Wonder Boy one, it's like, oh, these people think I'm gonna get knocked out again. All right, let's see if you can knock me out. Let me prove them wrong. So it's just two different mindsets when you're thinking about it. But it's like it's just funny because my dad will sit there and look at the odds. He's like, even this Wonder Boy fight, he was like sitting there like tearing up, like why is he the under? Like tell my brother, why is he the underdog? Why is he? My brother's no, it doesn't matter. But like he was getting nervous and scared and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, relax.
Right. So I got a couple more questions for you, and then we're going to get some fan questions in. So all the fans watching, drop your questions in the comment box, and we're going to get to that in a sec. So Belal, listen, man, you actually started off your UFC career 1-2. Now you're 11-3, and you're ranked top 5 in the world. So you know what it means to have a losing record in the UFC. You know what it feels like to have a 500 record in the UFC, and now you know what it means to not only have a winning record, not only have a top 10 ranking, but also have a top 5 ranking. So what kind of advice would you not just give to up and coming fighters, but even people that are struggling in everyday life about not giving up and seeing things through?
Man, it's funny you say that because I was just literally my boy Ramiz Rahama just fought Court McGee, and he's 1-2 right now in the UFC. And I texted him, I'm like, yo, I was 1-2 when I first got into the UFC. Keep your head up, stay the course, stay motivated. Don't lose hope, don't lose motivation. That's my biggest thing is just tell people like you think you always have a plan. You think you're that all right. Once I get to the UFC, I'm undefeated. I'm gonna be this guy. I'm gonna go straight to the title shot. I'm gonna be a superstar. But then sometimes you have to take a longer road. Sometimes there's some guys that come in. They're like a Kamzat where they go straight to the top and they're a superstar right away. Sugar Shot is a superstar right away. And there's some guys that have to grind and work their way to the top. Dustin Poirier, where he says paid in full. Like you go through all these ups and downs, and a guy like Charles Oliveira, where you go through all these ups and downs, and it just makes you appreciate it more. It makes you appreciate the moments more and the victories more. Because I know how it is to lose. I know how it is to get knocked out. I know how it is when nobody's calling you and nobody cares about you, and like you have family and friends that are talking behind your back, like, yeah, you saw his knockout, and they're telling other people about it. And then I have the moments where random people will start FaceTiming me just to show that they know me. And I haven't talked to you in years, but you want to FaceTime me so because you're at a grocery store and somebody was talking about me and they want to act like they're friends with me. But they never text me at all before my fights. They never text me at anything until it's fight time. And you just realize who's real around you, who's not real around you, who to keep in your circle, who not to keep in your circle. And that's the biggest thing I tell people is like, see who's with you when you lose. See who's the ones that are with you when you lose. Those are the ones that you got to keep around when you're winning.
And on that topic, you mentioned about people's reactions to the first Luque fight, which, Obama was president back when that happened, by the way. But I have a feeling, and I'm sure you agree, that people are now like, oh shit, he's fighting that guy again. It's like, I'm rooting for Belal, but I'm worried about like, that there's people that even though they're your fan or they're rooting for you, they're worried for you in a fight like this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but that's with any fight. They're always going to think the same thing. The loyal fans, the ones that really watch MMA, they know how good of a fighter Luque is, and then especially after a first fight like that. But they don't understand how much I've evolved. My team knows how much I've evolved. My coaches know. My teammates know what we put with the work we put in, the styles that we're gonna do, and then I think that it all adds up, and it all adds up to this right spot. This is the perfect time for the rematch. This is the perfect time to get that one back. Sometimes a lot of guys will rush a rematch, or you'll see guys that'll get it back to back to back, like Brandon Moreno against Figueiredo, and you're like, are we going to keep seeing the same thing over and over again with these guys? But it's like I feel like I had the right enough time to evolve my game, and it made me a better fighter. It made me lose it to him, it made me go reach out to Rufus Sport. It made me find different training partners. So like in a way, it's like it was a blessing because I would have stayed at the same spot. I would have stayed with the same mindset that it was because it was working for me. But once you take a loss, that's when you're like, all right, maybe I need to add something to it. Maybe I need to switch something up. I didn't switch gyms and leave all my people behind, but it was like having my teammates, coaches like Lewis Taylor, they'll tell you like, "Yo, go work out with this guy. See what they bring to the table. Go learn from this guy or that guy." It's not like you'll have coaches that'll be like, "Oh, you're gonna leave me. You're disloyal. You're this, and this," or you have like Amanda Nunez who thinks that, "Oh, I need to change everything up."
Right.
It wasn't that. It was like I added a couple of new tools, added a couple of new coaches, added a couple of new mindsets, got a couple of new philosophies, and I think it just made me a better fighter.
So, do you agree with me when I say there's a difference between knowing something and believing something? And what I mean by that is this. So, before your fights with Maya and Wonderboy, I'm sure you believed that you were going to win those fights, but going out there and beating two legends back to back, does that just elevate your confidence to that next level and let you know that you belong up here?
Yeah, I would say more so Wonder Boy than Maya because Maya, I've been calling him out for years because I knew stylistically that he wasn't going to be able to take me down. I'm a hard guy to take down, and I love fighting against grapplers, and I've loved fighting against wrestlers. So I always wanted that fight. The fight against Wonder Boy, I really didn't want that fight because he's the most dangerous guy. And he's the hardest guy to solve. And I've been through camps with Anthony Pettis, and I've been through camps with T. Woodley, and seeing that they had to bring in this guy and that guy, and just seeing how hard they're trying to figure out this guy, and still they both fought him differently, even though and they both said, "Dude, it was just so hard. You have to do this. He's a lot longer than you think. He hits a lot harder than you think. It looks slower, but it hurts. So you have it all in your head, and you're watching his highlights. And he's a guy that I fought on when me and Luque first fought. It was on Wonder Boy against Woodley card, and he was the champion. He was fighting for the belt at the time. So when you're on that card and you're seeing it, you're in the same locker room as a guy like Wonder Boy. You're like, oh, this guy's fighting for the title, man. I wish I could be next to this guy or get a picture of this guy. And you're like, dang, I got to fight this guy now? Like, what the heck? So it's like one of those fights where after that fight, you're like, I do belong. Once after that first round, I was like, I am strong enough to be with these guys. I am strong enough to be with these top guys. He's fought these Johnny Hendricks, who was the national champion. He couldn't take him down, but I took him down 3 times in the first round. I do belong with these guys. I am one of those guys that can be a champion. So that was the fight that really proved it for me.
It's interesting you bring that up, that like you didn't bring anybody to really emulate Wonder Boy or emulate Maya, and both those guys are specialists. Does that kind of like speak volumes to how much belief you have in your surroundings and your camp that, hey, we're perfectly fine how we are?
Yeah, honestly, it did. We're a very small gym, and we don't really have any like specialists like that. But like we always want to see each other win. I think we're like a family, and that's the best part about the gym. So, and the people that I keep around me, even from Rubik Sport, where Gerald Mershart came out and helped me out, Mike Biggie Rhodes came out and helped me out. So those are like my brothers. So like even over there, when we were all over there, that was the best part about it, is that like the team camaraderie, and we all, when one of us had a fight, all of us had a fight because we all wanted to make sure that one person won, and that's what I have here with Valley Flow. Uh, when I'm fighting Maya, Ignacio Bahamondes, who's just a freaking natural killer striker. He's sitting there shooting takedowns on me, pulling guard on me, and it's like he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to, but he wants to see me win. So that he knows that him doing that, sacrificing that practice to shoot on me is gonna make me a better fighter, and it's gonna help him become a better fighter too, because it's gonna make him work on his takedowns and work on his guard and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. So that's what I love about my team and where I'm at right now.
So we're gonna get to these fan questions here in a second. So how's this ESPN desk experience been for you, man? Because it's super awesome to see you there. You've obviously been improving every single time you get there, but I mean, it must have been kind of nerve-wracking that first time, considering like you don't have much experience in that field. This is not the same as fighting. Talking in front of an audience it's a whole other animal.
Yeah, it's one of those things where John Anik told me, like, yeah, just do the podcast, get your reps in. It's gonna be the same thing. You're gonna feel comfortable in front of it, but it ain't the same. It ain't. You don't get comfortable once you have somebody in your ear telling you, all right, we're live. You gotta cut it. You got 15 seconds. Keep it short. Keep it short. And you're like, what do you mean keep it short? Like I like to talk a lot, and then you're trying to figure out which camera to look at, and it was hard. It was hard the first couple of times, but now I feel like I'm starting to get more comfortable with it. And the thing I love about it most is just like studying and watching these other fighters and guys that are like on the undercard and seeing like little tricks and tools that they use, and then it makes me want to add those stuff into my game because I'm sitting there on these cards with like a Corey Sandhagen. I watch his footwork, and it makes me want to be like, dang, what did he do there? So like I'll go to practice and stand. I'll try to emulate it or push it or try it. And just watching all these fights with a purpose. Like I analyze them more, and it makes me help analyze my fights and my opponents and figure out them more, I think.
And I gotta ask you, how's Uncle Lou doing, man?
He's just getting big right now. He's probably like 250 pounds. He's one of those guys where it's like he's just so naturally strong and so naturally gifted that like he won't be at the gym for like 3 months, but then when I get a fight, he'll show up and then it'll still kill me. But it's like I'll be like, dude, you just put on an extra 50 pounds. You can't just pick me up and slam me. Like you gotta be more light with it now. So like that, yeah, I love having him around. That's my brother for life. So it's always good when you have a guy like him. And like I said, a guy that I'm always gonna keep in my circle, close circle, guys that that are always gonna tell you the truth.
Dude, it's so unfair when you got that one guy in jiu-jitsu class who's taking a full year off and he comes back and he whoops everybody's ass. Like I know exactly what you're talking about. So let's get to these fan questions, man. My boy Lock of the Night says, did you track down the Black Beast for your show yet?
Oh crap! Hold on, let me grab a charger real quick.
Okay, you're good, man. Grabbing the charger real quick and get to these fan questions. So all the fans leave some questions below. We're gonna get them in here for Belal. Hope y'all are doing good. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I truly appreciate it. Belal, can you hear me, brother?
Yo, yep, you got you. You good?
Awesome. So Lock of the Night wants to know, did you track? Hey, what up? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear me, brother?
No, I got you. Yeah. You good?
Okay, yeah. So Lock of the
no?
Night wants to know, did you track down the Black Beast for your show yet?
Dude, I'm in his DMs every freaking day. He's not looking at them. He's not responding to them. I'm commenting on his post. I had a couple guys like, yo, I got it. I think I'm gonna get his number. I know somebody that cuts his grass, and I'm like, bro, all right, see if you get the number. See if you get somebody to contact him. So no, nothing yet. But I did get a couple. I slid into Tai Tuivasa DMs. He was in Australia time, but he said once he comes back to the US, he's gonna hop on with me. So F you, Black Beast, I don't need you.
And Locke also wants to know, at what point did you decide that you needed to step up your social media game because you're easily one of the best in the UFC?
Honestly, it was like early on in my career. I was thinking being a professional athlete, you had to be more motivational. You had to be one of those guys. And then I realized that's not social media. Nobody cares about that. It's just being yourself and then opening up and being like, you want to show people who you really are. And I feel like once I figured that part out, that's when it became easier. That's when it became more fun for me. It wasn't fun just like posting the same thing, same motivational quotes over and over again, but like just being more real with it, being the who I am, showing more of my personality. I think that's what made it more fun for me.
Jimmy the Drunk says, Belal, has anyone ever tried to start a fight with you in public because they know you're a pro fighter?
Before I got into the UFC, it was more like that because I used to work in Chicago and the East Side. It was a bad neighborhood. But I used to work with my cousin, and then there'll be freaking people walking in, they'll have guns on their waist and stuff like that, and my cousin always be like, "Oh, hey, my cousin, he's a fighter. He's a fighter. He'll knock you out." And then the dude will be like, "Oh yeah, but can you take a bullet?" And I'll be like, "Bro, dude, shut up." I like tell my cousin. I'm like, stop telling people that because then people will want to test you. They will want to prove it. And like, if you do get into somebody, they're going to shoot first and then worry about it later because they do know I'm a fighter.
Yeah, you don't want any of those kind of problems. So Dan wants to know, he says, Belal, what are you doing to address the submission threat from Luque when implementing your wrestling heavy game plan?
Like I said, every game plan is different. The Wonder Boy was a wrestling heavy game plan. Who says that's going to be there for this fight? For me, I think my ground game is very good. I work with really good guys. I work with Jared Mershart, who's the leading middleweight submission holder right now, record holder right now. So I got really good guys that I train with, roll with, Nick's Basic. So I got some good guys, black belts. So I'm not really worried about it. We're more worried about everything else. So
JSJ23, he doesn't really have a question. He has more of a compliment. He says, Belal low-key building towards a better resume than Woodley. Already has the Maya and Thompson wins. Luque up next.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, when I get to that title shot, when I get that belt around my waist, it's not gonna be given to me. I'm gonna have to earn that, and I'm gonna show that I had to go through the toughest road. Like they're not giving me no layups, not giving me no easy fights. I'm not skipping the line. I'm literally climbing that ladder the longest way possible, the hardest way possible. But when I get to that title, it's gonna be worth it more.
Uncle Weezy says, Belal, in your 24 professional fights, Luque is the only fighter to ever finish you. Since then, you've been on a 10-1 tear. What did you learn from that first Luque fight?
Like I said, that fight right there just made me change my training. Before that fight, I was 9-0. You're 9-0. You're the most confident kid in the world. You think you're doing everything right. Then I go in there. It's like, all right, you lost to Joe Ban, but you're like, all right, well, it was a couple week notice fight. It was during Ramadan. You have excuses for it. So you're like, all right, well, whatever. My next fight, I go in there and I get the finish. So you still think you're on the right track. You still think you're doing the right things. But then you go under, all right, well, you need to be all in. You need to be all in with this sport. Like you need to be ready for guys like that do have that one punch power. So it just made me change my mindset, change my training, and like I said, it made me a better, stronger fighter.
All right, so a couple more questions and we're going to get you out of here. I do appreciate your time, Belal. So JSJ23 says, how do you think you match up with the champ Usman?
I match up very well with him. After watching that Kobe fight, I feel like stylistically, me and Kobe have kind of the same style, but I just have way better wrestling than him. I mean, and way better striking than him. Wrestling, we're pretty much the same. Cardio, we're pretty much the same. But striking, I have way better striking than Kobe. And when you're looking at Usman, those are the things that gave him a problem. Where he didn't even want to take a shot on Kobe because he knew that Kobe probably defended his takedown. So it was all stand up. And then being a stand up, being cardio, we match up pretty even on that. Strength, I don't think he's be able to take me down. I don't think he's be able to hold me on the fence. So stylistically, I think that my style matches perfectly with this.
Now, this is the most important question we've gotten so far. So Chris Lau wants to know, is hummus a dip or a spread, Belal?
Huh?
Is hummus a dip or a spread? You know what it is.
I thought you said who moves, a dip or a spread. Hummus, for me, I eat it any way possible. I usually put it as a spread because I'll eat it with a turkey sandwich or falafel. I'll put that on there. Eat it with chicken, but I also use it as a dip. I dip chicken in there. I'll dip pita chips in there. So it can be used as anything that use it any way you want. It's just so good everywhere.
Dude, a pita with hummus and falafel, maybe some chicken in there, some shawarma. I mean, that's all we need, brother. So I know I shouldn't be talking to you like that now that you're in fight camp. So last but not least, what's your prediction for this Jorge and Colby fight?
I think a lot of people are underestimating Masvidal. I feel like Masvidal does have pretty good takedown defense. Obviously, Kobe has really good takedowns, but Kobe's not good at holding people down. A lot of the time, a lot of the guys get up when Kobe takes them down. And I was talking to somebody too before where, training together, I feel like that helps Masvidal more than Kobe because, when you train together, you're going 100% when you're wrestling. You're going 100% when you're grappling, but you're not really trying to knock out your sparring partner. You're not really trying to hurt your sparring partner like that when you're throwing strikes. So I don't feel that Kobe's felt Masvidal's hardest punches or hardest kicks, but I feel like Masvidal's felt Kobe's hardest wrestling, hardest takedowns, and he sees what his go-to takedown is, what his go-to way to hold you down is. But when it comes down to punches, you're really never going to throw hard punches in practice with 4-ounce gloves. So you don't feel that. You don't feel shin to the body, shin to the head with no shin guards on at practice. And I feel like Kobe hasn't seen that part of Masvidal yet. And, Masvidal, he has to be motivated to take this fight,
Right.
I was sitting there like, man, why doesn't he go for Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz or McGregor? Because those are the huge money fights. So obviously he still has that mindset of I want to be a champion. I want to fight Kamaru Usman. And Kobe's just another tough test because if you lose 3 in a row and you lose to a guy like Kobe, you know that all that trash talk's going to come, all that, Masvidal was never good. Masvidal got lucky with his knee, got lucky with that, got lucky with this. He was given all of this, Dana White privilege and stuff like that. So there's a lot riding on this fight for Masvidal, but the fact that he took the fight shows me that he's still motivated and he's still hungry.
And finally, Tajik Bey wants to know, how did your training with Saeed Nurmagomedov go, and what's your impression of him as a fighter, the kid that beat Stamen this past weekend?
I didn't train with him. I trained with Saeed Yakub.
Oh, my bad. I guess I missed the question there. How did the training with Saeed Yakub go?
Dude, he's a beast. He's a good kid. He's man, his wrestling, his grappling is smart, and just talking with him, like you can just tell that he's very motivated. He got a good head on his shoulder. So I'm excited to get more working with them, get more training with them. I like when there's like young fighters that aren't that cocky or aren't just like full of ego. Like he's like a good kid, and I can just tell that he's gonna be one of the tough guys in that division.
Well, Belal, I truly appreciate you taking the time to speak with me right here, right now on Half the Battle. I know that there's a lot of shows that want, a piece of you, and the fact that you decided to come on here with me means the world. We truly appreciate it. All the fans can follow you at BullyB170. Belal, any message for the fans before we get out of here?
Thank you, bro. Just want to say to all my doubters, can't wait to prove you wrong. To all my followers, can't wait to prove you right. Tune in.
Hell yeah. Belal, thanks again for the time, brother. Best of luck in camp, and can't wait for this fight, man.
Thanks, brother.
Take care, man.
Peace out.
So everybody, that's the number 5 welterweight on planet Earth, Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. What an awesome dude, right? And I mean, he basically nailed it down. I mean, for him, he's never been outworked, out hustled in a fight. The only times he's had issues in fights was actually when he's gotten hurt in fights, but it's never been because someone held him down or someone outstruck him or just outworked him. I know the Jeff Neal fight, but man, he's won 7 in a row since then. So I think we're looking at a new Belal Muhammad, and man, this rematch with Vicente Luque, it's been many years in the making. I cannot wait for it. So, guys, follow me at BestFightPicks on Twitter. Subscribe to Half the Battle on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify. All the places where we are available. Smash that like button for me. And, guys, remember, every Tuesday night, I'm going live with a different UFC fighter, a different up-and-coming prospect, maybe some personalities of the sport to talk about up-and-coming prospects. I mean, this is Dan's Tuesday Night Contender. So until Contender Series comes back, you're going to have to deal with me. And then every Thursday morning, you already know the fight breakdowns with me and Shaq, 10:30 a.m. So from now on, you get 2 episodes a week, Tuesday night, Thursday morning, and then I'm working on one other. I know I got to get that after the battle going again, and that's the plan. So I will do that, guys. So thank you all very much. If you guys need a hookup for daily fantasy sports, make sure y'all check out my sponsor, Prize Picks. Use the code BATTLE for an 100% deposit match up to $100. And if you need a new sports book, check out my sponsor, BetUS, and use the code BATTLE125 for an 125% bonus on your first deposit, guys. And all the links are in the description. So again, smash that like button, hit that subscribe, follow me on Twitter at BestFightPicks. I truly appreciate it. And until the next time, let's cash these bets.